ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं सजीवं स्वयं रूपा कदा वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्री सागर रघुनाथान्वितं सजीवं साधुं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं चैतन्यदेवं श्रीनाथं विष्णुपदां सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते राधाकान्ता नमस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितां नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे Dear apologies and messages. Sorry for the delay. This Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Today we will cover the elements which are not part of Bhakti, and next week we will begin with Raga Nuga Bhakti. Okay. One ashram is not a limb of bhakti. The consensus of those knowledgeable of bhakti is that karma or one ashram duties is not an anga of bhakti. Those who are knowledgeable about the science of bhakti, they know that one ashram is not considered as an anga of bhakti. What is one ashram? Some people are in renounced order, some are in grihasthashram, some are in vanaprastha order. And I mean, there are many people who are in renounced order, but they are not devotees. Um, for example, according to scripture, um, brahmacharya means 0 to 25. Grihastha means 25 to 50. And there are RSS, Hindu Sabha, and then there are many people who are in renounced order there also, follows brahmacharya perfectly. But then, unless it is directly connected, unless Krishna is in the center, it's not considered bhakti. Just performing one's duty based on varna and ashrama, it's not bhakti. Although in Vishnu Puran 389, Parasar Muni said that one can worship Lord Vishnu by the duties of varnashram. That was only to encourage those persons who are not qualified for pure for bhakti, then at least do your duties without attachment. Krishna also says that will help one um, to come to the regulated sadhana bhakti, that will bring them one. Another thing, on his way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he met the followers of Madhvacharya. And he asked the followers of Madhvacharya, what is the goal of life? And they said the goal of life is to practice Varnashrama Dharma. And by that you will attain the goal of life is liberation, moksha. And that can be attained by practicing Varnashram properly. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he refuted and he said goal of life is prema and the way to attain is Shravanam and Kirtanam. Again emphasizing important that bhakti is different than Varnashram alone. How long Varnashram duties are applicable? How long is one supposed to perform Varnashram? तावत् कर्माणि कुर्विता नानिर्विद्येत यावता मत्कथा सर्वनादौ वा श्रद्धा यावन्न jayate. One should perform the daily and periodic varnashrama activities until one becomes detached from material sense gratification and develops faith for hearing and chanting about me. Um, how long should we continue? Till we come to the point of spontaneous attachment to Krishna. One should not give up once one ashrama dharma. Although there is like Raghunath Das Goswami, he says, I am not attached to, don't consider about what is dharma, what is adharma, just surrender to lotus feet of Krishna. We have many examples like the gopis who didn't care about varnashrama dharma, their duties to their husband, to their children, and they ran when Krishna played the flute. So Bhagavatam says one cannot copy those examples. Rather, when one attains that kind of devotion, then it will be natural. Till that time, one must perform one's varnashrama dharma and simultaneously worship Krishna. The prescribed duties of Varna and Ashrama. I'm sure everybody knows, but Varna is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Ashrama is Brahmachari, Grihasthana, Prastha, and Sannyas. The prescribed duties of Varna and Ashrama are rituals intended for economic development, sense gratification, or salvation. All of these things are recommended for persons who have not developed Krishna consciousness to bring them to the point of Krishna consciousness. But one who has already developed spontaneous attachment for Krishna does not require to perform them. Then that was Varnashram. It's not considered as Anga Bhakti. Um, mm, Ramananda Roy and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu asked what is the goal of life, and Ramananda Roy said to practice, perfectly practice one's duty in one name ashram. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Hey Bhaya, this is external. Aage kaha aap. Go, tell me more. Go deeper. Then Gyan and Vairagya are not limbs of bhakti. Now this is try to understand Gyan and Vairagya. What is Gyan? Acquiring knowledge. And what is Vairagya? Detachment. Gyan and Vairagya could be little useful in the beginning while entering the path of bhakti. They help in giving up attachment in unfavorable things, but they are not angas of bhakti. They are helpful in the beginning. Like we need knowledge, how we are spirit souls, how the three modes are working, how we are bound up by illusory energy, how we are part and parcel of the divine. So knowing this is required, but bhakti is spontaneously or loving service to Krishna is bhakti. But knowing itself is not an anga of bhakti. But it may be useful in the beginning. Likewise, vairagya is not an anga of bhakti, but vairagya is needed in the beginning. We gave up, maybe some of us may have some bad habits. Some of us may be engaged in meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication. And then we gave it up. So that vairagya was needed. We may have unhealthy lifestyle association, whatever it may be, like what time we get up and what our friend circle is. So we may have many attachments, like bounded to this material world. But then we gave those things up, and now our life is surrounded by Krishna, deity of Krishna, chanting the holy name of Krishna, Bhagavatam, devotees of Krishna, Dham of Krishna. This is what we are associated with. These are our surrounding. So, but previously we had like huge amount of ties. None of these things will appeal to us. And now this is all we do. So, Vairagya, I mean, in the beginning, Vairagya is helpful, but it is not considered an Anga of Bhakti. In other words, just because I am austere, I don't eat certain food stuff. I I'm not attached to. I don't need anything external. Just these things, Krishna does not care. Krishna showed it by the example of milk drinking brahmachari who would drink only milk. A great, he was a brahmachari, milk drinking brahmachari, not attached to anything, name, fame, position, power, or food, or whatever. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, do you think just by drinking milk one can attain me? Only by bhakti can I be attained. So emphasizing that bhakti is the most important thing. Then bhakti is independent and requires only the sentiment or desire for serving the Lord. That is bhakti. I want to do something. I want to please Krishna. I want to please devotees of Krishna. I want to serve. When it is that mood, then bhakti is there. Just because I'm not attached to something, or I'm doing my duty in my ashram very nicely, or I'm gaining more and more knowledge and understanding. These are not angas of bhakti. Rather, they will come with bhakti. It requires nothing more than sincerity. Bhakti, this is from Srila Prabhupada purport. Bhakti is the only cause of entering the path of bhakti. How do you get to bhakti? By bhakti. Gyan and Vairagya may be helpful, but they don't give rise to bhakti. Bhakti only give rise to bhakti. Um, Advanced level of bhakti can be attained simply by previous levels of bhakti. Thus, bhakti does not require assistance from Gyan and Vairagya. Um, by bhakti, the knowledge comes because many people know many things. Like, for example, we were discussing Sarva Bhattacharya, so much knowledge, so much speculation. Prakash and the Saraswati, but then no bhakti is there. Um, yeah, only bhakti give rise to bhakti. So somebody may say, can bhakti arise from Gyan? Because we understand I am spirit, so I am part and parcel of Krishna. Um, or initial understanding of that how the three modes of material work. Can that give rise to bhakti? Not really. There are many people who have this understanding, but they're not practicing bhakti. There are many who hear and they are not interested. But it is one's own bhakti, devotee's prayer, association. These are all the anga of bhakti. Anga of bhakti will give rise to bhakti. But reading Bhagavad Gita, reading Bhagavatam is also anga of bhakti. Reading bhakti books, that is bhakti. Um, um, Example, one more example is Srila Prabhupada as it is, Bhagavad Gita as it is, bhakti. But there are many other versions of Bhagavad Gita. There is knowledge. I'm not this body. There are a lot of gyan there. Um, but Prabhupada says, before I came to Krishna consciousness and before this book was released, nobody became a devotee. So that's a proof that just knowledge, no, there is some interpretation, but there is a lot of knowledge. So just gyan will not make one devotee. You will know everything. Just there are many people who are very renounced. Actually, there are many, even very successful people eat very little, very regulated life. Um, Especially people in mode of goodness, not attached, simple living. But then bhakti is not there. So bhakti is not dependent on gyan and vairagya. It is devotee association or Bhagavad Gita as it is, Bhagavatam, past life bhakti. It is bhakti which gives rise to bhakti. And then Bhagavatam also says bhakti, the Jnana and Vairagya are the kids of bhakti. They will come. Example of Raghunath Das Goswami, he became a great renunciate. Today we're discussing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught renunciation to the example of Raghunath Das Goswami. Became a great renunciate, drinking, some buttermilk, and that's his whole meal. Now, that level of renunciation nobody can practice. But that renunciation was coming from bhakti. As we grow in bhakti, like Prabhupada says, the more we become attached to Krishna, our detachment from material world will come about. That is a real renunciation. And we see all pure devotees, they have no interest in this material world. So everything, these are the product of bhakti. But bhakti is not dependent on them. Bhakti is supreme. Bhakti is independent. That's why these things are not considered anga of bhakti. Because Gyan and Vairagya generally make the heart harsh. Why they're not considered? Because the heart becomes hard by knowledge and renunciation. The renunciation which is taken as a level of austerity will make the heart hard, but the renunciation which comes as a product of bhakti, that will be favorable. We will discuss more on this because Gyan and Vairagya generally make the heart hard. Now, for example, Raghunath Das Goswami was expecting very high level of renunciation. So does Sanatana Goswami, all our Goswamis, the epitome of renunciation. They would not even live under the same tree every day. But their renunciation came from their bhakti. That's a natural progression that they are simply more and more interested in bhakti. I mean, it is said that the more one progress, the more one become attached to giving Krishna joy. And the more one become attached to doing something for the pleasure of Krishna, the less one become attached to doing something for one's own pleasure. So it's a natural transition that one is no more interested. And that no more interested, that cannot be said as Vairagya because externally it is Vairagya, but it's just no more interested. So for us now, not eating meat is not a Vairagya actually. It's like normal. It's like that. So likewise, they are the product of bhakti. So that will not make the heart hard, but severe austerity and lot of mental speculation, the heart become hard. Um, and hard heart cannot grow bhakti in that. So because Gyan and Vairagya generally make the heart harsh, the authoritative devotees have concluded that bhakti alone, whose nature is very tender, sweet and soft, is the cause of entering into bhakti. Bhakti is tender, sweet and soft. One of the we will see in Bhava Bhakti that the heart becomes soft, filled with emotion, reciprocation. All these things are there, but hard heart is like, yeah, it's little different. It's artificial. Sweet, soft, and there is more to it. Gyan and Vairagya makes one heart hard or harsh. Because in Gyan, one must deliberate on the truth by defeating a variety of other philosophies which are dry in nature. So, all these Prakash and the Saraswati and their associate discussing and doing a lot of mental speculation, not like this, neti, 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 this, and very artificial, very dry philosophy. And that makes the heart hard. And in Vairagya, one must renounce enjoyment by repeated tolerance of suffering. This practice is dry by nature. For example, I don't want this, I don't want no, 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 and there is nothing deeper. Krishna also says, Param Drishtva Nivartate. Krishna says one must give up sense gratification, but then he says by developing a higher taste. But if by not developing a higher taste, just giving up sense gratification, it's not sustainable, and um, Prabhupada is not very practical and make the heart hard also. And then one must tolerate because I am so much attached. Now I don't want this, so I must tolerate, tolerate, tolerate. There is nothing positive to replace with. But when we in Bhakti Yoga, we replace with a higher taste, with lotus feet of Krishna, with form of Krishna, pastimes of Krishna, name of Krishna, and then we take shelter of a higher taste, and then the lower taste does not matter. Um, Bhakti by its very nature is tender because it consists solely of thinking of Krishna's sweet form, qualities, and pastimes. Everything about Krishna is very sweet. Or Lord Chaitanya or Srila Prabhupada, pure devotees, everything about them is very sweet. So that's why it's very tender, soft, sweet by nature. So bhakti must be performed with a desire to make the heart melt in relation to the Lord. That's what prema is, no? How soft was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart and when he um, saw Jagannath, or when he was there, how he would love his devotees, how he would care for his devotees, how Srila Prabhupada was caring for each and every devotee. Guru Puja is going on, somebody is limping. Prabhupada called him and he said, "Here is some money, go and see the doctor." How Prabhupada is so considerate about others, about them getting nice prasad, nice facility, how he is so caring. Everybody says they felt that love. Um, so bhakti is that's the nature of bhakti, softness. Krishna told Uddhava, for those who are seriously engaged in my service, the cultivation of knowledge, impersonal gyan, and artificial enunciation are not very favorable. This is Krishna himself says Uddhava. This knowledge and artificial enunciation not very favorable. Krishna also says that those who are extreme cases of renunciation, they take the path of gyan. Those who are too attached, sense gratification, they take to the path of karma. And those who are in the middle and balanced, they take to the path of bhakti. However, the goals of Gyan, Vairagya, and other processes are achieved by Bhakti alone. A devotee, I mean, Bhakti will bring knowledge. Bhakti will bring renunciation naturally. And something more, a devotee automatically attains the fruit of renunciation and gets sufficient knowledge to understand the absolute truth. That is a test of advancement in Bhakti. Um, Renunciation will come. If renunciation comes, and those who practice renunciation, which is coming from Bhakti, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very pleased to see that renunciation, and that renunciation is gradually developing. We see many devotees now are ISKCON very renounced. We see how Mahaprabhu was very pleased with Raghunath Das Goswami increasing level of renunciation. So Mahaprabhu is very pleased. That's a sign of advancement. How Sanatana Goswami gave up that one shawl that was very attractive. He gave it up for a torn rag to just to keep himself warm. And when Mahaprabhu saw that, Mahaprabhu was pleased. Mahaprabhu said, "Whatever last attachment you had is also gone now. Congratulations, Prabhu." So Mahaprabhu was very pleased. But that renunciation is coming with because of bhakti, and that is a test of advancement in bhakti. Because see, when we in the beginning, it is said in the beginning we are concerned about what's for me to eat. And when we make progress, then we think about, is there nice prashadam for devotees? In the beginning, it's about me, everything about me. So there is renunciation. It's there in advanced devotees, and their personal life is very simple. You see, and like our spiritual masters or the brahmacharis, senior devotees, especially not may not be us, but we see very simple life, very good control on their mind and senses. Um, so Prabhupada says, this is natural. That is a test of advancement in bhakti. A devotee cannot be in darkness as the Lord shows special favor and enlightens him from within. Um, Krishna will inspire him and the devotee will keep growing. Everything will be given to him. Bhakti gave rise to everything. Bhakti is not dependent on anything. Rather, artificially taking up those things may impede bhakti also. The goal of Vairagya is Gyan, and the goal of Gyan is Mukti. These are indeed achieved by Bhakti alone. In Bhakti, you get the knowledge, in Bhakti, you get pure love of God, and liberation is included in love of God. So, the result of Gyan, Vairagya, and the Gyan, Vairagya itself, everything is coming from Bhakti. So, Bhakti is supreme, and Bhakti is independent. And in definition of Rupa Goswami definition, Rupa Goswami says, Anya Bilashita Shunya Jnana Karma Anavrita Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam Bhakti Uttama Jnana Karma Anavritam, free from Jnana and Karma, pure Bhakti. Nothing is unobtainable for a devotee, yet karma bhir tat tapasa. Everything that can be achieved by karma and tapas, by fruitive activity and austerity, jnana vairagya taschayet, knowledge and renunciation, yogena, dana, dharmena, by yoga, by dan, charity, by dharma, religious duties, shreyo bhir itare rapi, and other such auspicious acts of perfecting life, whatever they are. Sarva bhakti yogena madbhakto labate jasa is easily achieved by my devotee. Krishna is telling to Uddhava. Whatever people attain by austerity, by karma, by jnana, by vairagya, by yoga, by dan, by dharma, and whatever else there may be, whatever is achieved by any of those people is easily achieved by my devotee through loving service to me. And this is Krishna himself telling. So there is a proof that um, all those things not needed. Those who engage in my loving service get all those things, get the benefit of all those things anyways. Just by serving me, they get everything. If at all my devotee desires heaven, liberation, or residence in my abode, they easily achieve such modes. Swarga, Pavargam, Madhama. Swarga, Apavargam is liberation. Um, no. Swarga is heavenly planet. Madham, my abode. Kathanchid, Yadi Vanchati. Yadi Vanchati means if at all they desire. Yadi Vancha means Vancha Kalpataruna. Vancha means desire. If they just Yadi, if they desire whatever they want, they'll get it. I'll give it to my devotee. They just have to engage in my loving service. That shows Krishna Bhakti, everything is there. And Bhakti is independent. These things does not give rise to Bhakti. Bhakti is like the source, the goal, the means, the starting, the end. Bhakti. Pure devotees desire these things sometimes only when they are useful for specific cases of bhakti, bhakti upayogitvena, and only by dint of their bhakti do they get them. Sometimes we need knowledge, sometimes we want to give up some things which are not conducive. Um, Whatever we want to do, some tapasya if we want to do. Prabhupada, one lecture I was saying, Prabhupada says, human life is meant for austerity. Austerity must be done. Then Prabhupada said, today morning, Mangal Arati. After Mangal Arati, I went to the boys. One of the boy was sleeping during Mangal Arati. I told him, temple is meant for austerity. Um, Temple is not meant for a stay, a comfortable stay. If you cannot come for Mangal Arati, then pack your bags and leave the temple. Anybody living here must perform austerity. So Prabhupada was emphasizing, we have fasting days, we have Ekadashi, Nitya Tradasi is coming. Prabhupada says human life is meant for tapasya. So whenever it is favorable, one must do it. Um, but not if it is not connected to bhakti. Ultimately, it is bhakti centered everything. And only by dint of their bhakti do they get them. If a person has a taste for worshipping Lord Hari, even if he has strong material attraction, they will be destroyed during sadhana. If we like worshipping Krishna, whatever strong attachment we may have, which we all have our own attachments, they will be destroyed just by our practice. If we can just work on developing our relationship with Krishna through 9 angas or 64 angas or 5 most important angas or 2 most important anga or 1 most important anga. I'm sure you all understand, but just focus on those. Yukta Vairagya. Um, Anasaktasya Vishayan. Mahaprabhu also told this to Raghunath Das Goswami. And when Raghunath Das Goswami was in married life, and then he wanted to give up everything, he wanted to run away from the home. So Mahaprabhu told Raghunath Das Goswami, don't be a market vairagi, like a monkey who goes from tree to tree and does not wear any clothes, live in the forest without any clothes. So looks like a vairagi, but market vairagi, but he is internally attached. So Mahaprabhu told him rather than artificially renouncing and internally attached, it's market vairagi. Don't be like that. Mahaprabhu said, Anasattasya Vishaya. Whatever is needed for enjoyment, Vishayi for sense gratification. Um, Anasaktasya, without asakti, without attachment, accept it. Without attachment. That's why we say the renunciation or vairagya is not in the external, but it is in the mind. Problem is we are attached in our mind. That is a problem. But if Krishna is there in the mind, you can be surrounded by everything. But if you're not disturbed by what you are surrounded by, and if you can peacefully remember Krishna independent of what you are surrounded by, you have attained Vairagya. Very good example is Pundrik Vidyanidhi. Externally, there are servants, there is nice food, gold plates, there is all facility of enjoyment. But Anasaktasya, but he was not attached, he was attached only in Krishna. So that is Yukta Vairagya. That is what our parampara, our sampradaya teaches. Anasaktasya vishayan yatharham upayunjata nirbandho Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagya muchyate. If one uses them to the extent they are favorable for bhakti, and nirbandha Krishna sambandhe, if they are related to Krishna, yukta vairagyam uchyate. Such a detachment is said to be suitable for bhakti. Accepting, we can accept anything. Prabhupada says a spiritual master is expert in engaging everything in Krishna service. Prabhupada gave an example of money, microphone, buildings, resources, manpower, and whatever one may be attached. Whatever can be a cause of attachment, a devotee can use without attachment in the service of Krishna. And saying no, 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 Prabhupada says that is Falgu. One should not be attached to material sense enjoyment. If we are attached, see, one thing is, whatever is there, it is meant to be used in Krishna service. Great, no problem. Whatever is there, I want to enjoy this. Now there is a problem. I want to enjoy. Then developing some renunciation because that enjoyment may not be conducive. Then that renunciation is needed. And this is the beginning stage of bhakti. But everything can be surrounding and the mind is not attached. Like one devotee, Yugal Bishop Prabhuji says, one disciple asked Prabhupada, I think driver asked Prabhupada, show me some mystic power. Prabhupada says, I can be surrounded by women without clothes and I won't be disturbed. But you will be disturbed. He said, yeah, I will be disturbed. I mean, Prabhupada was speaking based on time, place, circumstances. He is giving an example that people can understand, but the principle is the same. Principle is whatever we are surrounded by, um, if everything can be used in Krishna's service, and if we are not attached in our mind, and if we can peacefully engage them in Krishna's service, great. One should not be attached to material sense enjoyment, but can accept anything enjoyable which is in relationship with Krishna. Ideally, I mean, materially, everything is enjoyable, but then a devotee can use everything Krishna service without getting disturbed. Let the palatable dishes be prepared, but unless they are offered to Krishna, one should not accept them for eating. This vow of rejecting anything not offered to Krishna is renunciation. For example, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if they like, Mahaprabhu is an announced order, but then Advaita Acharya, Sama Bhattacharya, they would make like this much rice and 100 of preparations, and they would ask Mahaprabhu to eat. And Mahaprabhu didn't reject it that, I am a sannyasi. He would say externally, I am a sannyasi. How can I eat this thing? And then they said, you have to eat. And he actually ate. And so he showed the example of it is Krishna Sambandhe connected to Krishna. There's no problem. Now, problem is there. It is connected to Krishna. Like Mahaprasad is there. It is connected to Krishna. But I'm eating for my enjoyment. So that is a problem, which we do that. Which may take us. One devotee was telling New Vrindavan, we went just returned. That's why I was late. Um, so one devotee was telling me New Vrindavan Prabhu, 35 years. He's a brahmachari, 35 years practicing. And he says still the desire to eat palatable food is there. Mahaprabhu told Raghunath Das Goswami, don't eat opulently. Just opulently, he said, I'm able to follow. We don't dress opulently. Um, Grame Kathana Sunibe Grame Kathana Kaibe, we follow. We don't talk mundane gossip, we don't hear mundane gossip. But don't eat palatable food is very difficult. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told that as an example of people in renounced order should do that. And then last instruction Mahaprabhu gave is always remember Krishna in Vrindavan. Always meditate on Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. That is too high, but that will come when there is this level comes before. Um, but then accepting just because it's offered to Krishna, not because I want to enjoy. Great, then eat it. Just like our spiritual masters, they go to different home, like His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj Vyas Puja was there. Devotees made 100 preparations. Then Maharaj ate. But then the consciousness with which we will eat and what Maharaj will eat is different. They may accept everything, but then they are accepting that is Yukta Vairagya, Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandhe, so they can accept anything. But we cannot say, Maharaj does that and we can also do. I mean, um, um, just a simple example. You cannot say just like saying, but if you go to their life, then you will see for months they were eating on some peanuts or a piece of apple or only on fruits. So what kind of austerity they actually went through. It's like, um, um, like what Krishna can do, I can do. Prabhupada says, no, first have lived Govardhan, then you can do what Krishna can do. Likewise, first have a devotion like them, and then you can do what you can do. But for them, everything is Yukta Vairagya. It is complete renunciation. But then, whatever they accept is only because it is, it is like with respect to eating, for example, it is accepted by Krishna. This Krishna's remnants, and without any desire to enjoy. Now, perfect. Now you are free to do anything. But we want to be a little bit more careful um, because we will accept things because we are attached, because we want to enjoy. So we don't have that consciousness, and we are developing that consciousness. And to develop the consciousness, tapasya is needed. Prabhupada is emphasizing. Then Falgu Vairagya is useless renunciation. Prapanche kataya buddhya hari sambandhi vastuna mumukshubhi parityago vairagya falgu katyate. This is vairagya falgu katyate. Hari Sambandhi Vastuna, the things that are connected to Hari. Mumukshubhi Parityago, you reject them. When they are connected to Hari, they can be engaged in Hari service and you reject them. Thinking that some objects are simply material, although they are related to Lord Hari, and thus rejecting them while desiring liberation is called useless renunciation, not favorable for bhakti. Prabhupada says in the purport, airplanes can be used, cars can be used, phones can be used, money can be used, wealth can be used. I mean, whatever. Rejecting them, I am one person said, some very new person. He says, I like this Baba very much because anybody offers him money, he does not take. So some people are attracted to Falgu Vairagya, but then this is not our teaching. It's not the internal attachment, but then everything can be used in Krishna's service. But then we should be careful. We should know where I'm attached internally, and then we should avoid those things. That is conducive for us. But those who are not attached, they can accept. But we who are attached, we should avoid it as an austerity, because otherwise we will we will go down. We'll over engage ourselves and we'll become vishay and we'll be diverted from our path of bhakti. We'll engage. So we should avoid if it is not conducive. That's why Rupa Goswami says final. There are many rules and regulations. Ultimate is whatever is unfavorable for you, reject it. That whatever is unfavorable may be favorable for a pure devotee, but it's unfavorable for you, so you reject it. But they can do does not mean that we should be doing it also. So we have to see where I am attached, and that is conducive for us. But the ultimate principle is everything can be used. So Vairagya is not, at a pure devotional level. No Vairagya, no tapasya, nothing, just bhakti because and they are not attached to anything. Uh, So they can accept anything just for the sake of using Krishna service and without any desire for attachment. Perfect Vairagya. That is perfect Vairagya. The duties of Varnashram Karma and impersonal Jnana have already been rejected as Angas of Bhakti by the definition of Uttama Bhakti, Jnana Karma Navrita. Yet to make it clearer, the false type of Vairagya has been again rejected as an Anga of Bhakti. Somebody reject, I don't need this, and that's not Bhakti. But Bhakti is using everything that can be used in Krishna service. Acceptance and rejection of things should always be in pursuance of Bhakti principles. What I reject, what I accept, based on Bhakti principle, and not independent or whimsical. The Guru is a visible manifestation of Krishna who directs a devotee on behalf of the Lord. One must follow the rules prescribed by the Guru. Ramananda Roy, Kurma Brahmana. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Ramananda Roy, give up everything and join me. Kurma Brahmana wanted to give up everything and join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu told him, stay where you are. Always remember me and always chant the name of Krishna and take the and whoever you meet speak about Krishna. But stay where you are. And he told Ramananda Roy, give up all your post position, everything, come. He told one servant, he told him get married. And he told Raghunath Bhatt and Gopal Bhatt, don't get married, go and join Rup and Sanatan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving very contradictory instructions. And that's why the Guru is needed. Acceptance and rejection, Prabhupada said, based on the direction of the Lord, which comes through Guru. One devotee, no names, I'm sure none of you know him. Um, He wanted to give up his job and join full time. He had a family. He said, I will be able to maintain myself by, he had some plans. And he was very much interested in bhakti. He wanted to make a lot of progress. And he wanted to give up all these duties and just serve Krishna without any financial modeling plan. And then he asked his owner, Sadhana Maharaj, I want to do this. And Maharaj says, may not be very much recommended to. Um, So that's why Guru is needed. Whatever we reject, whatever we accept should always be in the direction of Guru, not whimsical or independent of Bhakti. Then wealth, followers, and good qualities. The Bhakti, which is, having wealth, having followers, having good qualities is not an Anga of Bhakti. But Bhakti may bring wealth, followers, and good qualities. But having these things doesn't mean anything. That bhakti which is accomplished by dependence on wealth follower, I'm dependent on wealth follower, good qualities. Then bhakti is not dependent. The bhakti which is accomplished by dependence. I can practice bhakti if I have wealth. I can. My bhakti is dependent upon others' wealth. My bhakti is dependent upon the following. My bhakti is dependent upon my behavior. Like my non-violence or my whatever qualities I may have. Um, that is cannot be considered as an anga of uttama bhakti because it destroys the pure nature of that bhakti. It is far away from uttama bhakti. Srila Prabhupada says. Um, when they come, when we want to serve Krishna, Krishna will provide. Krishna will provide. However you want to serve Krishna, Krishna will provide. Just how you want to, there is no impediment. Yoga Shema Bahami. I carry what you lack. Whatever is needed for you to serve. The Prabhupada says, Krishna has sent me all these boys and girls. My spiritual master has sent me all these boys and girls to help me serve him. Krishna will provide when you have a desire. Srila Prabhupada had a desire. Then Krishna provided him wealth to open 108 temples, followers to spread Krishna consciousness movement. So Krishna will provide. But our bhakti is not dependent upon these things, or should not depend upon these things. With these things, I can practice bhakti more nicely. Otherwise, bhakti is difficult. Then these things are impediment. Then it's basically attachment. And it's bhakti is I want to serve Krishna. But when we are dependent on these things, then it is not just for serving Krishna. There is mix. Bhakti can be done in any situation. Bhakti is independent of everything. Bhakti should not depend upon our surrounding. Bhakti will give all these things, but bhakti should be independent. The true nature of bhakti is things done for the pleasure of Krishna. Discrimination, vivek, and other materially good qualities are not angas of Uttama Bhakti, since on their own they take shelter of devotees practicing Uttama Bhakti. Having discrimination, is it anga of bhakti? Rupa Goswami says even having discrimination is not considered an anga of bhakti. Um, like there are many people who are in mode of goodness, they can discriminate between right and wrong, but that does not make them devotee. But rather, a devotee, discrimination takes shelter of a devotee, or a devotee actually has a discrimination. Again, discrimination comes with bhakti itself. A devotee can understand this is favorable, this is not favorable, this should be done, this should not be done. Within the heart, he will be convinced. So discrimination takes shelter of a devotee. Just being discriminative without bhakti is not an anga of bhakti. Other materially good qualities, there are many people who act humbly, who are very tolerant, who are very patient, very soft spoken, very caring. There are many qualities many people have, but they are not devotees. Again, bhakti will give rise to all these qualities. Srimad Bhagavatam says all the qualities of devatas. They uh, they take birth or they appear in those who practice bhakti. So discrimination, good quality, wealth, follower. Bhakti does not depend upon anything. Bhakti is what can I do to serve Krishna? And when service of whatever is required, if the desire is pure to some extent, whatever is required, Krishna will send. Everything can be used. If everything comes, then we don't have to reject them. That, but bhakti should not depend upon them. Bhakti is independent, and whatever comes can be used to progress bhakti. But they're not considered as one of the 64 angas of bhakti. Basically, some people, you know, mm, or this guru on YouTube, not ISKCON gurus, but famous people, they have these many followers, or they are very wealthy, or they have such good qualities, or they are great personalities. But then by that, having all these things does not mean anything with respect to our philosophy. Um, Basic rules of conduct, cleanliness, like some people are like, very clean. Basically, how we conduct ourselves appear automatically in those who are extremely dedicated to Krishna. Krishna, Utkrishta Mukham. Thus, they are not included angas of bhakti. Again, conduct, cleanliness, discrimination, good qualities, wealth, follower, um, and vairagya, varnashram, gyan. All these things, they are not anga of bhakti. Parvat Muni appreciated the hunter Mrigari. The qualities such as non-violence are not very astonishing because a devotee of Lord Hari is never a cause of distress to anyone. Anybody become a devotee of Hari will naturally love all living entities. He become a Pandita Samadarshina. So he does not hurt anybody. He becomes non-violent. So bhakti will give rise to that. अंतःशुद्धिर्बहिःशुद्धे स्तपः शांति अदयस्तथा अमी गुना प्रपर्त्यन्ते हरि सेवा विकामिनाम. Antashuddhi, Bahishuddhi. Internally you will become Shuddha, and Bahi externally also you will become pure. You will become internally pure and externally also pure. Tapa Shanti Adayastatha. Austerity will become your lifestyle. You will become very austere also. You will become very peaceful. All the other qualities, they take shelter of Hari Seva Vikamina, persons who desire to serve Hari. And because they arise from Bhakti, they are dependent on Bhakti. Bhakti is not dependent upon them. Like a young born child, mother is not dependent upon the child. Maybe in old age, maybe, but when the child is newly born, the child is dependent upon mother. Then this is the second last slide. Ek anga and aneka anga bhakti. Bhakti in which one anga is steadily performed as the principal one, while others as secondary, or many angas are performed according to one's desire, brings about the desired result, bhav and prem. Desired result is perfection, Krishna prem. Bhav of Krishna. Ekanga Bhakti means you steadily perform one principle. Among the nine, you perform one primarily and other secondary, but one primary for you. So for us, primary may be Shravanam, for us, primary may be Kirtanam, for us, primary may be Smaranam, for us, primary may be deity worship. And different people have different primary. For us, primary may be, I don't know, I think these are most common ones. Service, like Hanuman, rendering service to Ram. For somebody, primary may be serving devotees. So you take any one primary, or you can take multiple as primary and others as secondary. Ekanga or anekanga. But anything can give the desired, you can bring the desired result, which is love for Krishna. There's example of hearing Marat Parikshit, of Kirtanam, Sukadev Goswami, of remembering Prahalad, of lotus feet massaging Pad Sevaram Lakshmi, of deity worship Prithu Maharaj, of offering prayers Akrura, Hanuman, of Dasya, Arjuna Sakya, and Bali Maharaj Atmanivedana by dedicating everything to lotus feet of Krishna. This is example of Eka Anga Bhakti, perfection to Eka Anga Bhakti. But for us, one can be primary Anga, others can be secondary, but anything can bring about a desired result. And this is Anek Anga, example of Maharaj Ambarish. Mind is meditating on Krishna's lotus feet, word in glorifying Krishna's qualities, hands in cleaning Krishna's temple, ears in hearing about Krishna, eyes in seeing the deities of Krishna, sense of touch in touching the bodies of devotees, embracing them, loving them, sense of smell in smelling the fragrance of tulsi or the flower or the incense or itra, whatever is offered to the Lord. Then tongue in tasting the prasad of the Lord, legs in walking to the holy places, head in bowing down to Lord Rishikesha's feet, desires in Lord service, not for oneself. Kaman cha dasya, na tu kama kamyaya. Kamam cha dasya. The desire is to become a servant of Krishna. Na tu kama kamyaya. Not desire for my pleasure. Desire in Lord service. He did all this to develop attachment for the Lord as possessed by great devotees. He performed all nine. Anekanga Bhakti, Ekanga Bhakti. If we is connected to Bhakti, we will attain the desired result. Okay, so that was the end of prominent practicing, that the practices that are not in Anga Bhakti. And next starts Raganuga Bhakti. So are there any discussion from today's? I know it's late also. Then Pranam Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
You mentioned like certain things like we,
तो थोड़ा सा ना आवाज कम आ रहा है पास आदि को भी.
yeah, Prabhuji, like you mentioned certain things which we like, and if we try to just accept them, that it can be not good for us. And then for pure devotee, they are not attached with those things, and even if they accept, they you know, they can still accept. So how do we practice that, Prabhuji? Like there are many things which we like, particularly things related to palatable food or any things which are comfortably that we want those things keep us comfortable. So how do we practice to be detached from those things?
Thank you, Prabhu. So I mean, where I was coming, where I was speaking, the intention was at some point of time you may develop some desire to, okay, this is not conducive for me. For example, let's take example of like you said, palatable food. I mean, it's very relevant example because we all struggle with those desires. Example, suppose we develop a desire. Well, now I don't want, this is not conducive for me. I'm very much attached to this. And then we may think and say, well, I see um, even pure devotees, they like these things. So when they can eat, then I can also eat. So this is just like telling, well, when Krishna can do this, then I can also do that without having because the consciousness is not the same. Um, so we cannot copy them. But rather, our tapasya, when the desire comes, that desire comes from Krishna. This is not conducive. I must try. Because, like it is said, Rupa Goswami says, if the tongue is controlled, Bhagavatam, Krishna says to Uddhava, if the tongue is controlled, then it is understood that all the other senses are automatically controlled. Tongue is, we say, tongue is the most difficult to control. If tongue is controlled, Krishna says, you can understood somebody's tongue is controlled. You can understood that his eyes is controlled, his ears are controlled, his nose is controlled, his genitals are controlled, his belly is controlled. You can understood everything of that person is controlled. If you can just observe the activity of that person's tongue. So then the desire may come, oh, but then I must control the tongue. If this can be controlled, everything else will be controlled. Krishna says the living entity are very struggling very hard with the six senses, which includes the mind. So then the mind is also controlled, the tongue is controlled. Wow. So then I must control the tongue. The desire may come from Krishna. Now we may say, well, there is no need because I see, my Guru Maharaj also eats very nicely. So, but there is a difference. I am eating because it's very enjoyable, but they are eating because it is connected to Krishna. They're not eating because the tongue is uncontrolled, because Krishna accepted them, and to please devotees, I will accept. There is no desire to enjoy. um, that devotion. So we cannot copy. Uh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling, he was very pleased with Raghunath Das Goswami for practicing austerity and eating the rejected food of the cows. But he used to receive invitations from different devotees every day, and they would offer such nice prasadam to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would eat, but then Raghunath Das Goswami is not trying to copy Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Oh, he is my Lord, he is my example. He came how to teach by his own example, so I can copy him. Raghunath Das Goswami at the end of his life is drinking buttermilk only. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu till the end of his life is eating Jagannath Mahaprasad and whatever devotees would offer. And that's why tapasya is important and good for us. But since consciousness is not the same, we cannot copy the activities.
Yeah, I think there's a fear. I mean, obviously, like, what my understanding, what I'm thinking so far is like we can eat, but utilize all the energy in service of Krishna. The more services rather than focusing on too much on the Shraddha, because if we just focus too much on the okay, not this, not this, not this, not this, then there's a
Yes,
fear that the senses will become much repulsive, then it distracts the whole consciousness of
idea.
fullness of practicing bhakti, and then it becomes really difficult to practice what we are really doing, and we become more focused on the austerity of avoiding the pellet stuff rather than focusing mind engaging in service or in the devotees.
So
So
excellent point. Yes. So Prabhu, here is the essence. That's why I use the word if Krishna inspires. I'm stressing again and again on that point. If Krishna inspires. So artificial renunciation not recommended. But at some point of time, maybe Krishna will inspire. Oh, this is something I don't want now. And if Krishna inspires, then austerity is good. And that austerity is a result of bhakti itself. Otherwise, like Prabhupada says, eat nice prasadam up to the neck. And then Prabhupada says, at some point of time, you should give that up also. So you see the two instruction. Prabhupada said at one point of time, we should enjoy somewhere. If we close all the senses, it's like a dam. Everything will be like, कुछ कर ही नहीं पाएंगे हम लोग. But then Prabhupada also says at some point of time. So, like if you see Prabhupada at the end, he stopped eating also. It's a very scary situation. Prabhupada, Kadamakanana Maharaj at the end of their life, they purposefully like we don't want to eat, and they have no problem. And then Krishna also says even one of the roaming senses. So I mean, I'm also struggling very much. I understand we're in the same boat, but then the idea, Prabhu. That's why I said if Krishna inspires, does it address
So
from?
yeah, so eventually, Prabhuji, again, please correct me if I'm understanding not rightly, that eventually as we progress with the bhakti, as we become more and more purified, then eventually, I mean, obviously, as we grow, the body anyway is not going to support what we can eat today. So that's naturally will be forced. Like, even if you want to eat, you may not be able to eat, and then naturally that detachment or renunciation will be forced by Krishna. That is again Krishna's mercy. But within the heart also, as we progress, that detachment slowly, the advancement will come. I mean, principle is clear that we do not want to be attached. It is clear and it is accepted. The heart, yes, that is the goal. But currently, since situation is not, I mean, it's not favorable, so it's disrupting
Yeah,
the, yeah.
yeah. So Prabhu, two things. I mean, I want to say one point to this. It's the bhakti that will bring detachment. It's not the body does not support that will bring detachment. Like example, there are people like for example who like to drink. They are old. Like one devotee told me his father used to drink, and then he said at the verge of death, but he wants to drink. So it's not that the body does not support, then the person will do that even if it is even if it will cause the death of a person. The person will still eat or drink that because it's just the nature of the tongue which is uncontrolled. But it is bhakti, and the bhakti can bring that, and desire can come of tapasya at any point of time, independent of the support of the body. But that bhakti principle, Prabhuji. But then if we give it up and become very artificial, then it is also um, it will make the heart hard, Rupa Goswami says. So if we follow Raghunath Das Goswami, like His Holiness Arana Swami Maharaj says, don't try to copy, but it can come naturally. I mean, right now, we are not. I mean, we are way far away. But then we practice gradually, and if that austerity, desire, or renunciation, if that comes naturally, inspired by Krishna, by the process of bhakti, then we can practice. But still, it is conducive, so no problem about prasada. Okay, eat as nicely as you want. But just the principle we are discussing and how comparing with pure devotees and how the mood or the consciousness is different. So just discussing those principles.
And thank you, Prabhuji. I think that bhakti principle is really essential, which I think you mentioned, because the strength is all going to come. Because that should be the focus. Then automatically rest will fall in place.
Ah, thank you, Prabhu. We also see the example devotees were fasting Ekadashi. Prabhupada said, one of you cook nice prasad, eat nice prasad, go and distribute books. So Prabhupada is always emphasizing bhakti, bhakti, stress on bhakti, bhakti, bhakti. And whatever comes inside as a part of bhakti, accept it. Raghunath Das Goswami gradually was developing more austerity, but it was just coming from within him. I don't want to do this. I don't like this. This is what I find joy in. So, but this is Das Goswami, very advanced soul. I mean, not advanced, perfected soul. But he's showing by his example. And when that stage comes, good.
Yeah, eventually we see how he grew, Prabhuji. Like slowly, his austerity levels of austerity increased, and then how he said, "Oh, this is not good now," which he used to do earlier, but now that same thing is saying, "Okay, I want to avoid that." Go to
Uh,
buttermilk and avoid that also. So
yeah, and then
he's
he didn't want to avoid it because he could not digest it. Correct, right? He
yes,
was not taking, say, rejected prasad from the cows because he cannot digest palatable dishes. But the desire came from within him. No, no, I don't want this. This is not conducive for me. And when that desire comes that no, this is not conducive for me, I don't want, this is not helping me. I don't want this. Then there lies the key to one more step, then one more step, then one more step. It's all bhakti. Bhakti will give rise to Krishna telling us, now this is not good. What is good today may not be good tomorrow. and Krishna will tell us. So when that inspiration comes, then act, 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 act.
Thank you.
Thank you. Complex topic. Okay. Anything else anybody has?
Thank you, Prabhuji. It was such a wonderful lecture today. You can talk for hours and hours, and I won't
I
be tired.
don't think I can talk for hours, but
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
when I speak for hours, people, yeah. Anyways, no problem. Thank you for your encouragement, Baba.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Naam
Uh,
kitne?
Prabhuji, you mentioned the point like about jnana, right? So jnana is the knowledge about imperson, right?
Yes,
Okay.
bhakti is come under Shravana. It's not considered as knowledge. Like I said, other Bhagavad Gita, and I
Hmm.
differentiated other Bhagavad Gita to Bhagavad Gita as it is.
Hmm.
Other Bhagavad Gita, Gyan is there. We are not the body is there. Many things are there. But Bhakti to Krishna is not emphasized. And by
Okay.
that, or doing that, or reading that, it's not Anga of Bhakti. Rather, they go away and they do Bhagavad Gita for this and this. But Bhagavad Gita as it is Bhakti.
Okay.
But
So Bhagavad Gita as it is Anga of Bhakti um because it is bhakti and knowledge of connects you to the Supreme Lord. That's why
yeah,
it's about Supreme Lord, right? So that's why it's bhakti.
yeah, yeah. Bhagavad Gita tells us how to do Bhakti.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Yes.
So how to do Bhakti is Bhakti. Other books may be needed. For example, बचपन में हमने पढ़ा होगा. We may have read Soul, or we may be trying. We may have some understanding, some knowledge. Before even we came to Krishna consciousness, may not be perfect, may not be about Krishna and devotional service, but we may have some knowledge. And with that knowledge, when we hear Bhagavad Gita, things may make sense because we have some understanding. So that may be conducive. For example, Krishna says, always think of me, cannot do that, follow regulatory principle, cannot do that. And in the last step, Krishna says, can you do this, 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 this? Then knowledge, Krishna says. So that may be conducive in the beginning, but that is not, and the bhakti is not dependent upon knowledge.
So, Prabhuji, my question is like we can differentiate the jnana from bhakti is like any other knowledge which doesn't tells us about the Supreme Lord is jnana, and anything which tells us about the Supreme Lord is basically bhakti or hearing or
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
Shravana.
knowledge, it's hearing. Okay.
It's Shravana. Shravana means hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is one of the 5 most important anga of bhakti.
Hmm. Yes, Prabhuji, understood. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else has anything? I know some devotees are very tired.
Tired.
Prabhuji, you have energized us. Thank you, Prabhu, for your notes.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you all for joining and encouraging us. We are very grateful to you. Our respectful obeisances to all of you. Vanchakalpatarubhesha kripa sindhube evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My obeisances. Dandavat. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji. Thank you
Prabhuji.
so much.
Thank you so much,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Pranam.
So much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. Dandavat. Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat
Hare
pranam.
Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji, Hare
Prabhuji.
Dandavat
Krishna,
Pranam.
Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna.
Krishna, Dhamma Pranam, Prabhu.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.